MetaTrader 4 is the dinosaur among the retail trading platforms, but it's a long, long way from being extinct. And in this webinar, we're going to show you our latest generation of our Powerbundle, which pushes MT4 to its limits. And the feature that pushes MT4 to its limits is called auto optimization. And how this works for MT4, we're going to discover together today. My name is Daniel Sinnig, and I'm excited to be here today, and I will be your host throughout this webinar. Now, before we get started, let me quickly go through the legalities. If you're trading, keep in mind that trading contains substantial risk and is not suited for every investor. If you trade, make sure to only use risk capital, which is capital that should you lose it, it will not affect your lifestyle. When it comes to backtest performance or hypothetical performance, keep in mind that this is not necessarily indicative of future performance. All right, so now that we have this out of the way, let's get started. For those of you who are new to our show, my name is Daniel Sinnig, and I am a managing partner of tradingindicators.com, your favorite online store for all your trading needs. We offer trading indicators, of course, automated trading strategies, dashboards, trading apps, and so forth. I am joined today by my partner, Homa, my partner in crime, with whom I am running tradingindicators.com. And together we have developed and written more than 500 trading strategies and trading indicators. We have clients all over the world. We have clients in Europe, in the US, in North America, and South America, basically everywhere. Our traders or our clients are trading educators, they're retail clients, they're institutions, and you name it. We have probably worked with those clients together. And we have one common goal to, provide trading tools which will help our clients to make better trading decisions and to become better traders after all. And I'm also joined today by Nicholas. Nicholas is now a full-time member, and we're very happy about this, of tradingindicators.com. So he decided to come on board full-time, and he's the mastermind behind the auto optimization feature, which I will present today. So super excited about this as well. All right. Now, if you're wondering, is this webinar recorded? What if I have to drop off? Of course, it is recorded. All the recordings will be posted when this webinar is over on our YouTube channel. And you can easily find it by going to tradingindicators.com. And on the top right corner, you will see a YouTube icon. Click on it and we'll bring you directly to our YouTube channel, where you can find, all previous recordings, this recording, of course, but also some other interesting videos that we have recorded for you to get you started with some of our products. All right, so now, what has happened in the last 2 weeks? Well, quite a few things, actually. Now, I should let you know that we have been away, the entire team, at the Traders Expo in Las Vegas last week, which was a great success. We had our own booth there. We were presenting our brand new version of our Zillion dashboard at the Traders Expo. And it was, as I mentioned, a great success. And I even met some of you guys over there, and it was really great to put a face to some of our loyal clients. So that was one thing that happened. But we've also been producing new stuff. So for example, we are currently working on new updates surrounding our Conqueror EA. Now, both for MT4 and MT5. If you are not familiar with the Conqueror, it's a robot designed to beat prop trading challenges, and it's off to a really good start. So we released it to about 20 users so far. We've gotten so much amazing feedback about this EA, what could be added and where it's going well, where perhaps it can be still improved. And we've taken all this feedback to heart, and we're about to release 3 groundbreaking changes to it. We're going to have what we call a honeymoon settings, because there was one observation is that, the EA tends to work really, really well in the first couple of weeks, and then it may run into some drawdown. Now, the idea now is, what if we just reset the EA after the 2 weeks? So it's basically always in the honeymoon phase. So we're going to try this out, and this feature will be released shortly.
We are also going to release a feature which looks after, resetting the EA or closing out the positions when a global portfolio target is reached or when a global portfolio stop loss is reached. Currently, the EA only works or looks at itself, and it's at the symbol it's trading, and it's looking for the profit target for that particular symbol. But we also want to add a feature which looks at the profit target for the entire portfolio. So this is all coming. All right, so this is one thing we're working on. The other thing is that we have, as you may guess, because this webinar is named accordingly, we have just released today, actually, the auto optimization feature for our Powerbundle for MT4. And I was super proud of it because it was not easy. As mentioned, MT4 is the dinosaur among the trading platforms out there. Its technology and its architecture is quite outdated. You may even get a warning from Windows that some of the libraries are considered out of date. But nonetheless, it still has a huge user base. So we're so thrilled to finally release the auto optimization feature for MT4. And basically, it will allow you to trade with optimal settings all the time. Whenever you change symbol or time frame, your settings may not be optimal anymore with the previous version. Now, this is in the past. Now you can always trade with optimal settings, which is pretty awesome. We have 3 optimization modes, a simple mode, and a standard mode, and an exhaustive mode. We're going to cover these today as well. And we have a feature called re-optimization, which will automatically re-optimize the EA under certain conditions whenever certain things come together. So you will always trade with optimal settings. And if you're wondering, yes, there are now 5. So 5 of our trading platforms now have auto optimization. As mentioned, we now have it for MT4. But of course, previously we released the auto optimization for Modifway, for NinjaTrader 8, for TradingView, and also for MetaTrader. All right, so we're super happy, and of course, more coming. So stay tuned for this as well. Okay, so let's get started. Before I really dig into it, I would like to mention that if you have questions, please don't be shy. Write them into the chat or raise your hand, and Nicholas will look after your questions, and he may even interrupt me should he see fit. All right, so don't be shy. The more, the merrier in this case. So let's get started. Auto optimization for MetaTrader 4. Okay, so actually, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Let's look at MT4, just to warm up a little bit. So I'm going to drag over my MT4 platform, and this is an MT4 terminal with FXCM. But you know what? It doesn't really matter. So if you have a terminal with 8cap or forex.com or ANDA or whatever, this will work on any MT4 installation. Okay, so this is your classic MT4 layout, and you may say, okay, this looks like Windows 3.1. Well, probably it does because it's that old. It's a very old platform, but nonetheless, so it's probably the most popular platform in the world. Okay, so we have a blank chart here, and it's a chart of Aussie USD on the 1 minute time frame. And let me just go ahead and apply just a standard moving average indicator to the chart. So I'm going to go here to my navigator, find my MAs, apply it to the chart, and double click on it. There we go. Let's pick maybe a certain period for my MA. 20 is fine. I click OK. And of course, now my moving average is applied to the chart. And I can see, okay, well, seems okay. Not bad, but maybe it doesn't catch the trend reversals as fast as I wanted to. Let me play around with the settings a little bit. So what I would need to do now is to do a right click on my chart, go to indicator list, then click on my moving average indicator, click on edit. This will open up another window, and now I can play around with my settings, perhaps change the period from, I don't know, from 20 to 10 perhaps, and maybe my MA method from exponential to simple, and perhaps I apply it to the median price. Okay, so I can do this. I can check out what is the result, and you can see it now it has changed a bit, and perhaps this now hits my price changes or the trend reversals a bit quicker. And if I want to change it again, guess what? I have to once again go back to the settings, click on a moving average, This will open up a new window. I have to change it again, click apply, and then, I have the updated version of the MA. Do you see the pattern here? It seems tedious. It seems annoying. And you know what? An MA is a very simple indicator. It only really has 1 or 2 important settings. But what if we had a more complex indicator? And there are so many complex indicators out there. So let me just perhaps apply our 1, 2, 3 strike indicator to it. And I'm going to just say, okay, it's applied to the chart, and I can see my statistics right up here. If you're familiar with our indicators, most of them, they will tell you right on the chart how well they've been performing. And here we can see that, oh, well, long efficiency is at 55%, short efficiency at 54%. Here we can see the signal. This is a short entry signal. Here we had another short. Let me see if I can find a long signal somewhere. Yeah, maybe not. Another short here. Here we had a long signal and so forth. So this is how the indicator works. But perhaps, once again, I may not be super happy with the performance. It's, just around 50%. Maybe we can do it better. So again, I would need to go to indicator list. In this case, I will click on 1, 2, 3 strike, and then I can play around with my settings. So maybe increase the volatility period. I will not explain these settings right now. That's not the point. To 14, and maybe my volume period, I will increase it to 50. Let's see what this does. And the cool thing about our indicators is that they will tell you right away on the chart in these statistics here if that change was beneficial or not. So let's observe what happened. So we had 55 and 54%. I changed some settings. I click OK. And now the indicator will recalculate, and we can see, okay, now we're at 57%. So it got a bit better. My signals also improved a little bit. Okay, not bad. So maybe one more time, and bear with me just for a second. Again, I go into the settings. Let me increase volatility period maybe even more. Let's see, to, I don't know, 25, and volume period to, I'm just making this up, to 75. And I click OK. Let's see what happens. Oh, even better. Okay, so maybe I would be able, if I keep on doing this, to find some really good settings where this indicator works well. But guess what? Whenever I change symbols, or whenever I change time frame, this whole game starts from the beginning again. I, again, would need to find the best settings. And you know what? This seems to be a little bit cumbersome, to say the least. So let me comment on this a little bit. So I think you probably would agree with me that finding the best settings can be a challenge, or at the very least, can be a very tedious task for most traders and investors. And I believe if something is not fun, if it's tedious, if it's, if it's just, if it's work that you don't really enjoy, it's not exciting, you will eventually stop doing it because it's just so boring, and you probably won't do it. And it's just human nature, the way this works. So we thought maybe there's something better. Maybe we can figure out a way where we no longer need to do this tedious work, because that's also not really smart work to play around with the settings. And we have come up with a technology which is called auto optimization, which tackles exactly this issue. And as the name suggests, it will find the best settings for you, so you don't have to. So now let me show you how this works. So without further ado, let me introduce to you now auto optimization for MetaTrader 4. So back to the charts. All right, so I'm going to go back to my MT4, and I'm going to switch over now to this tab here. It's the same symbol, again, the Aussie USD chart. But at this time, I have applied our brand new 1, 2, 3 strike indicator, the same indicator as before, but this time with the auto optimization mode enabled. So you can see this here with AO. AO stands for auto optimization. So now let's have a look. All right. So first of all, I can see right away that, wow, these signals tend to be, at least at first glance, quite good. You can see here the long entry signal worked out nicely, another long here. This short here worked out nicely. And it looks pretty good. Here we had a recent long a couple of minutes ago. This is off to a really good start as well. So you know what? It looks pretty good. And the best thing is that the settings that the indicator was using to figure out these signals, they have been automatically determined by the indicator itself. So I didn't do anything. I didn't choose them. The optimization feature has chosen these settings for me. And this is exactly where the power comes in, because now whenever I change something, whenever I change timeframes, the indicator will re-optimize its settings and apply the best settings right away. So here I went from M1 to M5. If I go to M15, it will do the same thing. It will again re-optimize and it will find the best settings for you. Not all the time will these best settings, give you really good statistics. It's possible. So here on the, on the M5 chart, we had 66%. It's decent for this indicator because winners tend to be much bigger than losers, but, not as high as on the 1 minute chart. But this also tells you something, because now it's so fast and so easy to find the best time frame to trade on. Yeah, so maybe the 5 minute chart currently, for whatever reason, it's not really important, is not the best time frame for this indicator. Maybe the 1 minute time frame works out better. Well, guess what? With the auto optimization feature, you can now figure this out very quickly. And this is possible because the indicator will apply the best settings for you. So you don't have to fiddle around with those settings. So this is exactly what is the end product of our work in the last couple of weeks, where we accomplished this, and this was not an easy task, and it really pushes MT4 to its limits. So we were able to accomplish this for this agent platform, which it's a great platform. I still use it almost every day because all my EAs are running on MT4. And I know there are millions of users out there who use MT4, so we're so happy to also finally have this feature available for MetaTrader 4. Now, let me quickly go back to the charts. And Nicholas, if there are any questions, feel free to interrupt me should there be any. All right. Now, just a bit more theory. I've shown you one indicator so far, but in fact, we have equipped 3 indicators with this brand new auto optimization feature for MT4. So what you've seen so far was our trend indicator. It's called a 1, 2, 3 strike. And it's, it's an indicator designed to identify strong trend entries when multiple things come together. So we need to have directionality in price, we need to have an increase in volume, we need to have an increase in volatility. If all 3 things come together, an entry signal is generated. All right, so this is our trend indicator, which you have just seen, but there are 2 more indicators. The second one is called Divergence Cloud. And as the name suggests, it is designed to detect reversals or pullbacks because it's based on divergence. And if you are familiar with divergence, it's a concept which stands for a discrepancy, a disagreement between price move and an underlying indicator. And if they don't match up, something is off. And this may be a telltale sign that a trend reversal or a pullback may be imminent. And this is what this indicator is designed to detect. So before reversals. And we have one more indicator, which is called Volatility Crusher, an indicator for identifying breakouts. We call them strong breakouts because when such a strong breakout happens, the expectation is that price will continue in the direction of the breakout for quite some time in the future. And you can imagine that you as a trader, you can take advantage of this by simply entering in the direction of the breakout. All right, so these are all 3 indicators which we have now equipped with auto optimization. All right, so let me quickly show them to you live on the chart. So back to MT4. So we've already seen 1, 2, 3 strike. Now let me open up a new chart, and here's another example of 1, 2, 3 strike. Our indicators not only work with currencies, although MT4 traditionally used to be the platform for trading FX pairs, but nowadays on MT4 you can trade all kinds of things, including CFDs, including some cryptos and so forth. So lots of things can be traded, even stocks, in fact. And this is 1, 2, 3 strike with auto optimization applied to the US 30 CFD, which is basically an equivalent to the Dow 30. And we can see here that we have our entry signals. Here's the long entry signals. Here we have a short entry signal, for example, and so forth. But this indicator, like all our indicators, in fact, also is equipped with what we call exit signals. Because entering into a trade is one thing, but once you're in a trade, eventually you need to get out of the trade as well. This is where these exit signals come in, because they will suggest to you, let's say here we went short, maybe it's time to book partial profits here and here and here. And eventually we have a final exit. This can be configured in the settings, how many exits you would like to have. And when we hit our last exit, we are considered to be flat. And this is exactly what happened on this chart here. Let me just go all the way to the end. So here, if I can find it again, I went a bit too far. So here we had our initial entry, one exit here, here, and here. Then at this point here, we were flat. And the indicator, however, stands that once we are flat, this downtrend is not over yet. So here we had another entry signal, and we are still in this trade. And price has followed through quite nicely since this entry signal. All right. Now, what else do we have? So again, this is still a 1, 2, 3 strike, but I'd like to show you one more thing. So if you go back to the settings of the indicator, you will still need to use these settings sometimes, but it's a bit different now, because now you will primarily use these settings to adjust how the optimization should be performed. Okay, so what you can see here, for example, is that we are currently running in optimization mode simplified, which means that, it's, an optimization which tends to finish quite quickly because it doesn't test all the combinations. In fact, he only tested 144 combinations of parameters to come up with these settings. But we can change this. So we could change this optimization mode, for example, from simplified to standard. And when I do this, you will see everything will recalculate, and the indicator will eventually update. And this will just take a little while. And now we have improved settings. So 88% to the long side, and for the short side, I went a bit down. But the way the optimization works is that it always looks, by default at least, for the average of these two percentages. And this is just the way this indicator or the optimization is designed. But then you may say, perhaps I am only interested for certain equities, maybe for the US 30, to only trade long, because I kind of believe there's a long bias still, despite our bear market. Maybe there still is. I'm not interested in going short at all. Okay, no problem. What you can do is you can go back to the settings of the indicator. All right, back here, I'm going to scroll down once again to the optimization settings. I'm going to tell the indicator, hey, let's only trade long. In fact, this is here in the trading style. So by default, it's set to both long and short. But I can tell it, I only want to trade long. And what happens now is that the optimization function will only look at the long trades and try to find the best settings for the long trades. So let me do this. I optimize again. And after a little while, the settings will update. And now we have 92% for long trades. So we even improved it. And this was possible because now the optimization was only optimizing for the long signals, and not for the short ones. So I think this can be a really cool feature if you have a personal preference, or perhaps a bias, or perhaps your account doesn't allow you to trade short. Well, now you can fine-tune the optimization in this way. All right. So
Daniel, do you mind if I jump in with a couple questions?
Go for it. Yes.
So we have one question from Kenneth, and he wants to know about 1, 2, 3 strike. Do you need to exit the 1, 2, 3 strike exit signals manually?
Yes. Right now, this is just an indicator. It will not trade for you. So the trade execution, entry and exit as a manual thing. So yeah, currently this would need to be manual, but we have plans for the future to create an EA around this indicator, which can take these entries automatically. And if you're familiar with our Conqueror project, we have designed an EA which will take the entry signals of our Powerbundle indicators, 1, 2, 3 strike or divergence, cloud or volatility crusher, as trade entry, and then it has its own risk management and trade exit logic built on top of this. So that's an EA which partially takes advantage of these indicators. Yeah.
Thank you. And one more question from Carl Sarkins. As you mentioned, MT4 is old. What are 1 or 2 newer, better platforms that you would recommend?
Yeah, so okay, maybe I should say it is old. Yes, and it's tedious to program for it. It's a pain for us as developers. And a newer platform would definitely be MT5. It has it has a much better, more modern architecture, and it's a cleaner interface and so forth. And it's also a bit faster. But having this said, MT4 might be old, but it is extremely robust. This is why most traders who trade fully automatically, who trade with EAs, with bots, they choose MT4 because it is almost indestructible. I've had run bots on my VPS, on my virtual private server, for months or perhaps years nonstop with basically no downtime. It is so robust. So that's the big advantage of having an MT4 installation. The chart thing may look a bit old and clumsy, and the interface may look like from the 80s, but it is so robust. And this is why it is still the #1 platform in the world when it comes to automatically trading your EAs and bots on it. So don't worry if it's old, it's still good.
Thanks, Daniel. Please continue.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks for the question. Good question. Okay, so this was 1, 2, 3 strike, but let me now move on to our second indicator in the mix, which is called Divergence Cloud. All right, so here's Divergence Cloud, and from now on, I will only use the auto optimization mode. Here, Divergence Cloud is applied, let me just quickly see, to the pound USD chart on the 1 hour time frame. And I'd like to point out something right off the bat. Do you see these little colors here? The greenish ones? Of course you do. You're not colorblind, you do see them. So we have these greenish colors, which are sometimes more intense, sometimes less intense, and we have these reddish colors. Now, as the name suggests, these are areas where we have either bullish divergence or bearish divergence. Of course, bullish if it's greenish and bearish if it's reddish. Now, what does divergence tell me? Well, if we have bullish divergence, let's see here, for example, if things start to get a bit green, as you can see here, this can be a telltale sign that this downtrend here, which we had, is coming to an end and may reverse to the upside. Or vice versa. So here we're in an uptrend. You can see here a little bit, things are starting to get red and we're starting a downtrend. So this is what divergence is all about, to give you early telltale signs that something is happening. And this something typically is either a pullback or even a trend reversal altogether. So even if you don't like the sequence of these indicators, you should pay attention to these colors because they can be very useful for you to be used as a filter. Let's say you have your own trade idea. Maybe you want to enter into the market, perhaps around here. You say, okay, I might be going wrong because overall trend has been going up. Well, it's in the red area. So you may not want to take that long trade because you would go against this divergence color, against the bearish divergence color. So you can use this as a filter. Okay, but in addition to this, we have the filter technique, but this indicator also comes with its own signals, which you can see here. These are red arrows. These are short entry signals, and these greenish ones are long entry signals. And just like with 1, 2, 3 strike, also this indicator comes with partial exit suggestions. So here we had one entry, one partial exit here, a second one here, a third one here, and a fourth one here, and then we're flat. And of course, this indicator also comes once again with auto optimization. It will automatically apply the best settings of the indicator for you. And if you go to the list of all settings, I'm just going to show you the indicator settings, the standard settings. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe even more settings you could play around with to find, some good combination. You can imagine how tedious this can be. So now the indicator will do it all for you and will find you the best settings. And these will be the best settings, which will give you the biggest or the highest win rates in combination. So by default, again, the indicator will trade both long and short. So it will look for the highest average of the long and short efficiency. Whatever parameters will give you this highest average will be used for the indicator. Now you may wonder, how do I know what these parameters are? Maybe I'm curious. Or wonder which parameters of the indicator actually have given me these settings. Well, we have built a feature for this as well. So I'm just going to make this a bit bigger. If you open up the terminal of MT4, which is this one down here, Control T, or you can just go up here to View and Terminal. Then you go to exports, it will actually print out, you can see it here, what were these settings, what are the current settings used to give me these statistics. We can see here that for Divergence Cloud on pound USD, we have chosen, or the indicator has chosen, a volatility period of 25, a volume period of 10, a fast MA period of 5, and a slow MA period of 30. Now you can easily see it here. And guess what? Now if I change, let's say, time frame from 1 hour to, let's say, maybe 5 minutes, the indicator will recalculate. And you can see here now we have completely different settings, because now a completely new set of settings have been deemed optimal by this indicator. So that's pretty cool. So now you will not only see what the signals are as an end result of applying the indicator, but you also see what the parameters are that have been chosen to generate these signals.
Daniel, do you mind if I interrupt you quick? Question?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when we get these signals, entry and exit signals for any of these indicators, are there push notifications programmed?
Yes, we do have alerts, absolutely. So what you can do, by default, these are disabled, but you can enable your alerts. So if you go to indicator list here, and this is a one-time manual enabling, you go down here to the alerts section, and we have all kinds of alerts. We can have email alerts, so you can enable these here. Pop-up in this trading platform, sound alerts, or push alerts, which you can enable. Of course, you would need to configure your push alerts with MT4 first, which is very easy. But yeah, once you enable it, you will get a push notification whenever something happens with the indicator. And this holds true for all our indicators, for 1, 2, 3 strike, for Divergence Cloud, and also for the last indicator in the bundle, which is Volatility Crusher.
Thank you. Perfect.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. All right. Now, but let me move on. We have one more indicator which I would like to look at, which is called Volatility Crusher. And I don't know if you guys heard me talk before, you probably already know this, but this is my personal favorite indicator. And I've gotten feedback from clients that, oh, wow, Daniel, Volatility Crusher is also my favorite. So I think I'm not alone. It's just an indicator that fits my trading personality, because it tends to go for the short, quick move and then gets out of the trade. So you're in and out fairly fast. With 1, 2, 3 strike or Divergence Cloud, you tend to be in the trade a bit longer. All right. So how does this indicator work? Let's look at some examples. Here, let me make this a bit bigger. All right. So here we have these bigger arrows, which you can see here. These are entry arrows. So in this case, of course, it's going downwards. It's a short entry arrow. And these entries always happen when we break out of our consolidation zone, which is this rectangle here, the yellow rectangle. Whenever there's such a breakout happens, and some other things need to come together as well, like an increase in volume, for example, we get a signal. And once the signal is generated, we also see 2 profit targets here, which are fairly near. So that's why I said I like this indicator, because it goes for the quick kill, which it's nice to have sometimes. So here we had a profit target here, which we hit almost immediately. And our second profit target was hit just a bit later, a couple of bars later. What you can also see here is this line here. This is our trailing stop, and this will be adjusted as price continues in the direction of the trade. And if you're wondering, okay, what's this level of the trailing stop? Well, it's fairly easy to see. All you need to do is to go to your market watch. Let me simply go here to view market watch. I hope it opens up. Yeah, we have it down here. It's market watch. And if I hover over this, observe these values here, target 1, target 2, and stop loss. You can see exactly what these values are. So for example, here, our stop loss is at 1,841.15, or around that price. So you can see exactly what these values are, because it might not be clear by just looking at the chart. So this was a short entry signal. And here, for example, we had a long entry signal. And as I mentioned, this is our breakout indicator. So it typically happens, or it works really well when we had these zones of consolidation, which you can see here. So we had the zone. We had a breakout. We soon after hit our first profit target, then our second one, and then we are flat again. And what I like about this indicator is that, it just gets you in and out fairly quickly. So you don't have to, be nervous for too long about your trade. Of course, being nervous as a trader is typically a sign that your position size is not good. So, you observe yourself and you get nervous when you're in a trade. Typically, that's a sign that maybe I took too much risk, because you should never be really nervous about your trade. and you should risk management your trades regardless of how confident you are with your signals. And this is the volatility crusher. And here we have, what do we have? We have gold USD on the 1 hour time frame. And perhaps if we, again, here we have our statistics, very good statistics alongside, so 100% in our look back period. So always keep in mind that, we calculate these odds not for like eternity, like in just the past. No, there's a limit to it. You can customize it, but you can see what this limit is right here. So in this case, we calculate these probabilities from March 3rd, 1 p.m. So a bunch of trades were taken. Just happened that all our long trades worked out. So really good odds on this particular pair. And for example, if I now change time frames, let's go down to the 30-minute. After a little while, the indicator will be reapplied. And again, it will apply itself to the chart again with the optimal settings, which is so awesome because you always had to, in the past, find these settings yourself. And since this was so tedious, and this is just how MT4 is, it's tedious to adjust settings because there's so many mouse clicks involved. I believe most users just used the default settings for all the charts regardless, because adjusting the settings was just too tedious. All right. Okay, so this is a little overview of how our indicators work. Let me give you a little summary of what we've seen so far, and then we can open up the room for some more questions. So back to my slides. And just as a reminder, what you've seen so far is that we had 3 indicators in our Powerbundle, and we have a special offer for you at the end of this presentation, for example, where you can get hold of all 3 indicators. So one was for trend trading, which is called 1, 2, 3 strike, one for identifying reversals, which is called Divergence cloud, and one for trading breakouts, which is called Volatility crusher. And each of these indicators, they will give you not only entry signals, but also exit signals. Because as I mentioned before, everybody can just enter into a trade, but once you're in a trade, you eventually need to close it out. This is where these exit signals come in. These indicators will work on any time frame. So whether you prefer to trade on the 1-minute time frame or perhaps on the daily time frame, it doesn't matter. All trading styles, day trading, scalping, swing trading, investing, even is supported. We also will give you all indicators. Will give you our statistics showing you how well the settings have been working out, how well the signals have been working out historically speaking. And sometimes you will see, wow, it works really out in both directions, long and short. But sometimes you may see, for some reason only the long signals have been working out great, maybe at 90% or 85%, but short signals not so much. What do you do as a trader? Well, I believe the answer is quite simple. You would only follow the long signals. Now, why would you follow something where the odds have not been working out so far? Yeah. It's just not wise. So this is what these statistics can tell you. And this is where you get some really good insight of which signals you should follow for your own trading. And of course, now with this latest generation of our Powerbundle, we have introduced also auto optimization for MT4. As mentioned, we had these features before for Wave and NinjaTrader and TradingView, but now we also have it for MetaTrader, which is quite an accomplishment, I believe, because MT4 is an old platform and programming for it is quite challenging. Okay, so are there any questions, Niklas, or should I just continue and talk a little bit more about auto optimization?
Yeah, please continue. There's no questions. We did have one question. I think you're getting to it though, which was about re-optimization.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Okay, yeah, let me talk a little bit more because you may think now, wow, auto optimization is the holy grail. It's so awesome. I'm so happy. But there are a few things which you must know about auto optimization, because there are also some side effects which I believe they can be completely navigated and mitigated, but you need to be aware of them. So let me explain to you what these side effects are, because it's important. All right. Now, the optimizer will find the best settings for you. And once it finds these best settings, it will apply to them to the chart. Now, but let's think about one particular scenario. Let's say, let me just open up a chart again to explain this to you. Maybe not this one. Let me take this chart here. Actually, I've used the, let me just see if I have an open trade. No, 1 second. Let me just find a good symbol for you real quick. Okay, perfect. This is a good one. So here we are currently in an open trade. You can see it here. We have a long entry signal. We didn't hit our profit target yet, so we're potentially in an open trade. All right, so price will continue into the future. Maybe new bars will be printed. But, as new bars will be printed, also more bars are taken into account for the optimization, which can lead to the fact that the optimizer will find different settings to be optimal and will then apply these settings to the chart. What do you think happens then? Well, it can happen that this entry signal will no longer be there because now a different set of settings have been applied to the chart where perhaps this entry would not happen. Okay, so you may think, oh, this sucks. Why is that? Okay, yeah, it's something you need to be aware about, but there are things that you can do to mitigate this. The easiest thing, actually two easy things you can do. The easiest thing is once you are in a trade, just look at what were the actual settings used to generate this trade signal, and then just apply these manually to the indicator. Because once you apply them manually and you switch off auto optimization, this signal will always be here. It will always stay there for eternity. And you can manage the trade with the exit signals that you see here. Okay, so that's good. And this is applicable, let's say, when you jump between charts and the indicators reapply to it, you can simply reuse these settings. But we have one other feature, which I would like to explain, which is called re-optimization. All right, now re-optimization. So what I just explained to you is what happens when you apply the indicator brand new to the chart. So this signal may disappear because the optimizer kicks in, unless you override it manually. But re-optimization is a feature where the indicator is applied to the chart, new bars are being printed, and you would like the indicator to re-optimize to the optimal settings as price continues. And we have built-in such a feature for you. So let me go to the settings. Indicators list. All right, if you scroll down here under inputs, all right, here we have, where is it? Okay, re-optimization mode. So by default, it's disabled. It's set to none, but you can enable it. And there are two values to choose from. You can either tell the indicator, I want to re-optimize every X number of bars. So for example, every 30 bars, but you can configure this. What the indicator will then do is that it will wait 30 bars and then re-optimize. Basically, try to find the best settings again, which may or may not be the same settings as before. That can always happen. The second value that you can choose for re-optimization is when flat. And this is a feature which we have introduced. It's brand new. It doesn't even exist for our other platforms, even though it's probably going to come for those ones as well. We have introduced this feature to wait with the re-optimization until the indicator is flat again, until this trade here is closed out, either because it hit the profit targets or it gets stopped out. And only then it will re-optimize. Because that way, the entry signal that you saw will stay on the chart until the trade has closed. I think this is something that can be very useful if you manage your trade manually. You do not want to enter these parameters by hand. This is where the re-optimization comes in. All right, so let me go back to the chart, maybe just iterate on this just a bit more. So I hope this was clear that when the optimizer finds or encounters new bars that are printed, it may deem that new settings are better because it now has more price data to play with. And this can lead to the fact that a signal which was previously there will disappear. But luckily, we have two ways to navigate this or to mitigate this. First of all, you can just copy the optimal settings and enter them manually and switch off optimization. It's one way to do it. Or you tell the re-optimizer to only re-optimize when the indicator deems its position flat. Okay. All right. So I hope this makes sense. Believe this was important to point out at least. All right, so
we have time for a question, Daniel.
Yeah,
really quick.
Always. Yeah.
So Neil would like to know, how do we know which one of the three features to trade? I think he's saying which one of the three indicators. How do we know which one to trade?
It's I'm like probably the most pragmatic trader in the world. I like to keep have my trading as simple as possible. So what I do is basically or literally, I just apply the indicators to the chart, sometimes all three of them, and I look at these statistics. And this is my main criteria. Sometimes you will see that, oh, these are awesome. So I'd like to follow this indicator. And sometimes you may notice, oh, for some reason, market conditions are not working for this indicator. So I don't trade at all. So this is my first decision criteria. The second one, let me just maybe find a good example here, is I always manually peruse the chart. So whatever happens, see if I can find a good example here. So here we had a long trade, as you can see. And in fact, this is set out to trade long only. Maybe let me quickly switch on short trades as well. Maybe get like a signal here. Let me do this. So long and short. Enable it. Close it out. And let's see what we have. All right. Yeah, we did have a nice short signal here. So let's say we had an entry here. What I always like to see is that there's enough room for this trade. So here we want to go short. Are we trading towards a near support zone? Should that have been the case? Typically, I don't like to take that trade because that, it may bounce off from it. So that's one thing I look for. And these support zones, like here we have one of these big swing areas. So here we had a resistance zone to the upside, here a support zone, and so forth. So these are easy to spot. So this is one thing I look at. And the other thing is I'd like to be in line with the overarching trend. So let me zoom out a little bit. So here we can see, well, price has been actually quite sideways, just looking from this point on. Yeah, so actually more of an uptrend. So maybe perhaps not such a good idea for a short because you would go against the overarching trend. So these are typically the three things I look for. And since we have so many symbols that we can trade, you will always find symbols where everything lines up. So where we have good odds, where we are not trading near a support or resistance zone, so the trade has enough room, and we are in line with the overarching trend. If these things line up, the chart looks clean to me, I just pull the trigger. That's how I do. So I keep it quite pragmatic. Any other questions?
No, not at the moment, Daniel.
Okay. All right. So back to my slides. So if you're wondering, are these indicators something that I could use? Because you may say, oh, I'm a swing trader, and Daniel only has shown me day trading examples, which is not the case. I didn't, but are these indicators for me? The answer is absolutely they are, because they work for all time frames. So whether you trade the 1 minute chart, the 5 minute, or the daily chart, it doesn't matter. These indicators will work because they're completely time frame and even chart type agnostic. So MT4 really only has the candlestick or the OHLC bars, but if you're on other platforms, you may have Renko bars, you may have range bars, tick charts, volume bars, whatsoever. You can trade these indicators on all these chart types as well. So no problem whatsoever. You may also say, okay, I only trade FX. Are these indicators for me? Yep, I've shown a lot of FX examples. If you're on a different platform and perhaps trade pure futures, yes, you can do this too, or trade equities with these indicators. There's no problem. It doesn't really matter which equity, which asset class you trade. These indicators will work on all of them. And I think the most compelling reason, at least this is for me personally, if you're more like me, can engineer at heart, and if you believe that tools, smart tools, can make your life easier, and if that's the case, you should use these tools, because why not have an easy life? Then I believe these indicators are for you as well, because they do a lot of heavy lifting for you. Just these manual adjustments of the parameters, man, that's so tedious. And again, as I said, if something is too tedious, chances are you will not do it. So if you're a little bit like me like to have an easy life, then these indicators can be a good fit for you. And of course, I mentioned it before, now we do have it for MT4, which is awesome. I'm very happy about this because it's one of the very first platforms I started trading with and also programming for. So finally, we have them for MT4. But we also have these auto optimization features for MotiveWave, TradingView, NinjaTrader, and MetaStock. So they're all available. Now, we do have actually a special offer for you guys. So if you are interested in our Powerbundle with auto optimization for any of these platforms, we do have a special offer. where you will get these indicators for live. I mentioned it before in previous Tech Talks. We are in the process of changing that. So we are moving towards a subscription model. As soon as we are set up for this again took way longer, or it's taking way longer than we hoped for in the beginning, but it's coming. So we're putting all these places in. But currently, you're lucky you can still get them for live. And not just the indicators I've shown you, which are 1, 2, 3 strike, divergence, cut, and volatility crusher, of course, with auto optimization and statistics, but we will also throw in our training goodies, our 5-hour masterclass, our ebook on the topic, our webinar recordings, and on top of this, our trend radar indicator for MT4, whatever platform you choose. If you don't know trend radar, I'm going to show this to you in a second. So if you're interested, simply go to tradingindicators.com/AO. AO stands for auto optimization. And yeah, we would be so happy to welcome you on board of our trading community, which is growing and which is really awesome. We're getting so much good feedback along the way. And I should say one thing, many of the features that you've seen today, like the statistics and the way they are presented or how the auto optimization feature works, these were driven by feedback from you guys. So somebody had some ideas, you wrote them to me, and we found them useful, so we implemented them. And when you come on board, you will be part of this journey together with us. And of course, should there be updates of these indicators, you will be grandfathered and you will receive these updates as well within the same product generation. And of course, we are also fully accredited here in Canada by the Better Business Bureau. If you want to look us up, you can find us as tradingindicators.com on the Better Business Bureau website. Now, as a special thank you, and maybe as an apology for the long wait that has taken us to get this ready for MT4, we would like to offer for the first 10 customers an additional $100 off. So if you're one of the first 10, you can get this this discount. All you need to do is to go to our product page. So the URL was displayed here, tradingindicators.com/AO, or you simply scan this barcode for the lazy ones among you. This will bring you to the product page, and there you can enter, or the first 10 customers can enter the product code MT100, which will get you another $100 off our products. So don't miss out on that if you want to. It's for the first 10 customers. All right. So this is the offer we have. Now, a quick note about Trend Radar, which is also part of what you can get. This is an indicator which looks as follows. It's this indicator here at the bottom of the chart, and it gives you this heat map-like visualization, which can be greenish and sometimes reddish. And what you actually see here is what are my short-term trends, medium-term trends, and long-term trends doing. So, and this is really useful if you don't want to clutter your chart. Typically, you would need to apply some MAs to it or whatever. You don't need to do this anymore. All you need to do is to look at this Trend Radar indicator, and you can easily spot, for example, pullbacks within an uptrend, which is a scenario here where we have, this it's predominantly green, but a little bit of red. And these red signs are pullbacks, and in this case, healthy pullbacks. And if you're a trend trader, you know what a healthy pullback is. It is a very good entry opportunity because for two reasons. First of all, you're getting a much better price. Or secondly, you need to take much less risk because your stop loss is much tighter than where you would enter at the opposite end of the trend. So this can be a really good opportunity. And this Trend Radar indicator is just an easy way to spot these pullbacks and other chart patterns, for example. All right. So this is Trend Radar, and it will be also included in your bundle. Now, in addition, you will get our ebook on Divergence, which explains to you exactly how our divergence indicator works, which technology we've used, and what are some of the mathematical principles behind it. You will get access to our 5-hour masterclass, which will tell you everything you need to know about our Powerbundle indicators. I couldn't cover any of these settings today because they're just too many and it would be too much talking. I'm already talking a lot, but this masterclass will, explain it all to you. And of course, once you're in our community, you will have access to all our resources, all our webinars, all our sessions, and so forth. So you'll be really part of our community, and nothing would make me happier. Now, before I open up the room for questions, just one word, because I think it's going to come up about the installation of these indicators, because it changed a little bit. If you had our MT4 indicators before, we've made a change to this. So let me quickly explain to you what needs to be done, because it's slightly different now. So let me quickly go back. This will only take 2 minutes. Go back to my MT4. Now, if you purchase our indicators or get a hold of it somehow, what you will get is, and this is my Windows downloads folder here, you will get, and if I can find it, yeah, you will get this file here. It's called the MT4 Powerbundle AO.zip. And as the name suggests, it's an archive. So the first thing you need to do is to extract it. So you can use your favorite extraction tool. So extract to MT4 Powerbundle AO, for example. You extract it, and this will now put all these indicators into a subfolder. Just taking a little while here. Still doing it, hopefully. It is now, oh, there we go, finally, it's here. So all these indicators are now in this subfolder, and then you navigate into this folder. And in here, you will now find 4 files. And you may think, wow, why 4? There's only 3 indicators. Good point. There's also a DLL included. And this was needed for several reasons. One of them is that the optimization requires some more computing power. So we outsource this into a DLL, but there's another reason for this as well. So what you need to do is to copy all 4 files, otherwise it's not going to work. Copy them and put them into your MT4 data folder. So open data folder here. This will open up a new Explorer window. There we go. You go to MQL4. In here, you will go to indicators, and you will paste all 4 files into this folder. It's very important. Okay. All right. Now, the next thing that you need to do is once you've done this, you go back to your navigator. And I'm almost done with this little tutorial. You go here and you do a right click and click refresh. Once you do this, you will see 1, 2, 3 strike AO, which is this one here. Oops, this one here. You will see Divergence Cloud AO here, and you will see Volatility Crusher AO in your navigator window under indicators. All right, so far so good, but there's one more thing you need to do. So let me maybe start with a blank chart. So let me do this. Let me open up quickly a blank chart if I can find one. Now let me just take this off using this one here. So let's say we have 1, 2, 3 strike. So what you do, you drag it onto the chart. This will open up your settings window. Now, 2 things are important real quick. So the first thing is that under common here, you need to allow DLL imports. If you don't check this box, you're going to get a little message here. You need to check this allow DLL imports field. There's also a way in MT4 to generally allow it for all indicators, which you can find under options up here. So here, options, you will go to, I believe, to expert advisors. And in here, it says allow DLL imports. Once you do this, it will globally be allowed or always be checked. So you can do this. All right. So let me go back here. So allow DLL must be checked. And secondly, you will need to enter your license key and email address into these settings here. And you will get this license key from where you obtain the indicator. There will be an email sent to you with a license key. And you will also enter your email address that you use for your purchase. And this is a way for us to make sure that, everything is legit, that you still have a valid license and so forth. Okay, and once this is done, you're all set to go and you can use these indicators. All right, now this was just a quick side note about the installation part because it's a bit different from what we had previously. All right, now, Nicholas, are there any questions at this point?
No, Daniel, there aren't.
Everybody
I have a few questions on my end.
Hi, Homa.
Hi. So Don wants to know if auto optimization will be available for TOS ever.
That's a good question. It is not certain and rather unlikely, unfortunately. TOS is so restricted of what can be done. For example, you cannot load an external DLL. You cannot trigger or pull any external sources. I don't think so. Maybe in a very restricted way where we can test for a few combinations, but definitely not as extensive as it can be done like on an MT4, NinjaTrader, or TradingView.
Okay, and Richard wants to know if you can go over the win rates and how they're calculated.
Yeah. Yes, that's a good point. All right, so back to my MT4. Let me just find a chart here. Maybe this one. Let's pick this one. Okay, so I'm just gonna, yeah, let's take this one here, for example. So I'm just trying to find a good example. This one is good. Okay, so here, for example, we had, let's pick this one here. It's a bit hard to see, but here we had one long entry signal, as you can see, this big greenish arrow. And of course, you can change the colors afterwards. This is all customizable. So, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 exits. Now, for the win rates, the way it works, whenever we have an exit, we compare the exit price with the entry price. And if you're a long trade and the exit price is greater than the entry price, it's deemed to be a win. And of course, for a short trade, it's the opposite. If the exit price is less than the entry, then this would be a win. Otherwise, it would be deemed a loser. And this is how we come up with the win rates.
And something also important to mention, Daniel, is that the price assumed for the entry and the exit is always the close of the bar. So although the arrows and the lines are drawn at the highs and lows of the bar, those are just for visual so that it's not ugly. The lines aren't going through the middle of the bar. We use the close of the bar to calculate the win rates.
That's right. Yeah, good point. Mm-hmm. All right.
We have another, another user here wants to know if it's going to be available for MT5.
Yes, this I can already guarantee. This is in fact next on our to-do list. Either we're going to do this project for MT5, or we first will do super signals, which look for confluence of our Powerbundle indicators. We might do this for MT4 first, but yes, in the near future, this will be available for MT5, and rest assured that there will be an announcement made when this is the case.
Okay, great. We're good on this end. Thanks.
Awesome. Okay, well, all right, guys. So, if you want to take advantage of this offer and get the $100 off, I'll be very happy to see you on board. And all you need to do is to go to tradingindicators.com/AO or scan this QR code and then enter our coupon code, which is MT100. And just as a side note, should you already have a previous version of our Powerbundle for MT4, or should you already have an individual indicator of the Powerbundle like 1, 2, 3 strike, simply drop us a note. Our contact information will be shown on the next slide or so, and just ask us, hey, what can be done? Can we work out something? And of course we can. So just let us know what you have and that you're interested, and we work out a deal with you. All right. So, and of course, Nicholas and Homer, they've been in the chat and they try their best and also try their best to answer as many questions as possible. But should your question be overlooked, perhaps, because it's not so easy to keep track of all these questions, or if it was not possible to answer them within this Zoom call, then just drop us a note at info@tradingindicators.com. That's one way to contact us. So fairly simple. Or simply go to our homepage and there's a contact form there as well. It will also end up at the email address. Drop us a note and ask your question, and we're so happy to answer all your questions and listen to all your feedback. All right. And this is just, available through our homepage. We're tradingindicators.com, and excited to be here, excited to finally have released the Powerbundle with auto optimization for MetaTrader 4. All right. So if there are no more questions, I guess we're closing this off almost on time today, which is awesome. Some tech talks have been 2 hours or so, but today it was a good solid hour, a bit more. So thank you so much for your time. Now have a great dinner or a great night wherever you are, and hopefully see you next time in 2 weeks' time when it's again Tech Talk at Trading Indicators. Bye-bye.